Have you ever felt like life keeps throwing a series of sucker punches and no one gave you the manual on how to dodge them? A frustrating job, roller coaster relationships, and let's not even talk about those unfinished dreams. But here's the twist. No matter how hard life hits you, stand up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. If that sounds familiar, congratulations. You might just have one of the most powerful tools out there, a strong mind. Having a strong mind doesn't mean you're immune to setbacks or failures. It's about how you adapt, learn, and refuse to let negativity take over. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we can't control the punches life throws at us, but we can control how we respond to them. If you've ever told yourself, "I'll get through this," even when your world felt like it was falling apart, this video is for you. Let's dive into the 7 signs that reveal you have a strong mind. Get ready, because you might discover just how much inner strength you truly have. Let's get started. Number 1, you're in control of your emotions. It's a busy morning at the office and you receive an email from your boss criticizing your recent work. Despite knowing you didn't make any mistakes, anger flares up, and your first instinct might be to fire off a sharp reply. But instead you pause, take a deep breath, and take time to analyze the situation. You realize that reacting impulsively would only make things worse. After an hour, you respond professionally, clearly explaining your position and providing evidence to support your work. The result? Your boss not only understands the situation, but also appreciates your composed approach. Stoic philosophy teaches us emotions should not dictate your actions, but serve as information to respond wisely. You don't ignore your emotions, but you know that acting on impulse rarely leads to positive outcomes. Instead, you let your emotions settle, allowing reason to guide your actions. This patience not only helps you resolve issues effectively, but also earns respect from those around you. Controlling your emotions extends beyond the workplace. When a friend or family member says something hurtful, you don't immediately lash out. Instead, you calmly assess whether it's worth responding at all. This isn't indifference. It's a way to protect your inner peace and avoid unnecessary conflict. By managing your emotions, you handle challenges more effectively and shape how others perceive you. This isn't an easy skill to master, but with each small step and every thoughtful decision, you're building a strong mind. One that remains steady in the face of emotional waves and knows how to navigate any situation. 2, you know how to handle failure. Remember the time you applied for your dream job but didn't get a response? Instead of letting the disappointment consume you, you told yourself, maybe this is a chance to grow. You signed up for a new course, improved your resume, and kept applying for other opportunities. Eventually, you landed a job that suited you even better. You understood that failure was just a stepping stone, not the end of the road. On the other hand, your friend faced a similar setback, but reacted differently. He felt like all his efforts were wasted and began doubting his abilities. Instead of improving or trying again, he gave up on his goals and settled for a job he didn't truly enjoy. Stoic philosophy reminds us we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. With your strong mind, you chose to learn from failure and used it as a driving force to grow. You didn't let obstacles hold you back. Instead, you saw them as challenges to overcome. The difference lies in how you approach failure. Rather than drowning in negative emotions, you look for lessons and opportunities in tough situations. This mindset not only helps you progress, but also builds your confidence and resilience. When you know how to handle failure, you show the hallmark of a strong mind. You recognize that every setback is an opportunity to rise stronger, and it's this attitude that keeps you moving forward closer to achieving your goals. 3, you learn from your mistakes. Imagine a boy named Jack learning how to ride a bike. On his first try, Jack wobbles, loses his balance, and tumbles to the ground with scraped knees. Instead of crying or giving up, Jack sits down, looks at his bike, and asks himself what went wrong. After a moment, he realizes he went too fast without properly balancing. Jack gets back up and tries again, this time moving more carefully and steadily. Little by little, he masters the bike, and before long, he's riding through the neighborhood with a wide grin, savoring the freedom he's achieved. Meanwhile, Jack's friend Mike also wants to learn how to ride, but he quits after his first fall. Mike feels the pain and thinks, maybe biking just isn't for me. Instead of trying again or figuring out what went wrong, Mike gives up and never gets to experience the joy and freedom that Jack now enjoys. Stoic philosophy teaches that failure is not the end, but an opportunity to start again with greater wisdom. Jack understands this. He doesn't see falling as failure, but as a lesson. Each time he tries, he not only gains control of the bike, but also builds confidence and resilience, traits that will help him tackle bigger challenges later in life. Admitting mistakes is never easy. It takes honesty and courage to confront yourself. But like Jack, when you embrace them, you don't just overcome immediate problems. You grow stronger in both skills and mindset. Every mistake becomes an opportunity, not a barrier. The difference between Jack and Mike isn't about who fell or who's better, but in how they responded to failure. One turns it into motivation to improve, while the other lets it become a roadblock. And that attitude creates two very different paths in life. When you learn from your mistakes, you're not just fixing the past, you're unlocking the door to future success. 4. You live life according to your values. Imagine receiving an enticing job offer from a prestigious company, a position with a high salary and status. But accepting the role would mean sacrificing time with your family and compromising your principles about work-life balance. Someone with a strong mind would pause to consider, does this truly align with my values? Instead of being swept away by the allure of money and power, you decline the offer. You choose a career that aligns with your principles and long-term goals, even if it doesn't bring immediate societal recognition. On the other hand, someone without a strong mind might be easily tempted by the flashy benefits. They might accept the job out of fear of judgment or a need to prove themselves to others. But over time, they feel drained and disconnected, realizing they've lost sight of what truly matters because their choices were driven by external pressures rather than internal values. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true freedom lies in living according to your values, unshaken by the opinions of others. Living true to your values isn't easy. It requires self-discipline to resist temptations and stand firm against societal judgment. But when you succeed, you find true freedom, a life where you don't regret trading away what matters most for fleeting gains. You don't need validation from others to know you're on the right path. Every decision you make, from your career to your lifestyle, reflects your principles and beliefs. This is how you create a life of meaning and authenticity. By doing so, you not only navigate external pressures, but also cultivate peace of mind and confidence in the path you've chosen. 5. You're able to be your truest self. Imagine you're at a social gathering where everyone is dressed to impress, sharing stories designed to capture attention. Instead of getting swept up in the glamour, you choose to wear something simple and comfortable, sharing honest stories without worrying about what others might think. You don't feel the need to pretend because you know your worth isn't defined by someone else's opinions or judgments. This quiet confidence comes from truly understanding and accepting yourself. In the same room, there might be others striving to craft a flawless image, picking expensive outfits and telling stories that align with the crowd, even if they don't believe them deep down. This constant performance takes its toll, leaving them drained because they're not living authentically, but rather chasing expectations that aren't their own. Stoic philosophy reminds us no one knows you better than you know yourself. With a strong mind, you don't seek external validation. You're willing to acknowledge your flaws and share your thoughts openly because you understand that authenticity is the foundation of strength. This not only brings inner peace, but also creates meaningful connections rooted in genuine understanding. Living true to yourself isn't easy, especially in a world that pressures you to conform to external standards. But when you break through those barriers, you find true freedom, not in pleasing others, but in knowing you're living in alignment with your values. In that authenticity, you become not just stronger, but also more deeply connected to the purpose behind your choices. 6. You have a strong sense of self-worth. Imagine deciding not to follow a trending fashion style, even though your friends are all on board with it. Instead, you choose to wear clothes that make you feel comfortable and confident. You know your worth isn't tied to keeping up with trends or seeking compliments from others. You don't feel the need to change yourself to fit in because you understand that you are enough just as you are. Meanwhile, there are those who easily succumb to social pressure. They worry that if they don't keep up with the trends, they'll be judged or left behind. They spend money on things they don't truly need just to receive fleeting approval. But in the end, they still feel unfulfilled because external validation can't replace inner confidence. Stoic philosophy reminds us that you don't need to change to please the world, because your true value lies within you. When you have a strong mind, you understand that self-worth doesn't come from others' recognition, but from living authentically. You don't need trends, fame, or applause to feel whole, because you find value in the principles you live by and in how you treat yourself. This confidence not only helps you rise above social pressures, but also brings true freedom. You don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone, allowing you to live genuinely and focus on what truly matters. When you refuse to let external expectations dictate your self-worth, you become not only stronger, but also capable of living a life defined by your own terms. 7. You're a realistic optimist. Imagine you've just started learning a new skill, like playing the guitar. Right away you realize it's not as easy as you thought. Your fingers hurt, the chords sound messy, and you even begin to wonder if you have any talent at all. But instead of giving up or convincing yourself you'll be a guitar prodigy in just a few weeks, you take a realistic yet optimistic approach. You know improvement takes time and practice. You set small goals, like learning to play a simple song within a month, and you stick to the plan step by step. Over time, you see clear progress and feel the joy of your effort paying off. In contrast, someone without a strong mind might get stuck in one of two extremes. Either they become overly pessimistic and quit before giving themselves a chance, or they get blindly optimistic, expecting to excel after only a few practice sessions. Both paths lead to disappointment. One never tries, while the other loses motivation when unrealistic expectations aren't met. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control and prepare ourselves for the unexpected. As a realistic optimist, you don't let negativity dictate your actions, but you also don't lose yourself in unrealistic dreams. You see situations as they are and place your trust in what's possible through consistent effort. This mindset not only helps you maintain resilience, but also ensures you always have a practical path forward. The difference between a strong mind and a weak one lies in how they handle challenges. One strikes a balance between hope and reality, while the other gets swept away by emotions or gives up too soon. When you can approach life with realistic optimism, you don't just grow stronger through challenges, you enjoy the journey itself. And that's the true power of a resilient and grounded mind. So do you recognize any of these signs in yourself? Do you see the strength of your own mind shining through? Let us know your thoughts, and if you know someone who could use a little inspiration or motivation, share this message with them. Let's spread the power of a resilient mind